Welcome back to Charlie's Mailbox, where I answer actual questions from actual people in my inbox. Two things different this week. One of them is that I'm in my office, as you can see, so the quality may be a little boomy on the audio. Apologize for that. Secondly, this message or this question actually did not come from a person here at school, rather a notification from Google about changes to how you share a Google form. And I thought it was important enough and tricky enough that it was worth sharing this with you all. So why don't we call this week's question, how do I share a form in the new Google Forms? So you can see I'm here in Google Forms, and this screencast, I'm not going over how to actually create a Google form. More than happy to help folks with that, but I really want to jump right into sharing it. So let's assume the form is done, you have all your questions written, and now you're ready to share it out. You'll notice a new button, and it's now called Publish. I believe it used to be called Share up here. And the new concept is that when you click Publish, or let's say until you click publish, nobody can respond to your form. So when you click publish form, it's going to prompt you, who do you want the responders to be? So I'll click on manage. And maybe for this form, I want my CVU test student to respond as an individual. You can also invite a group, like for example, the CVU tech department, etc. Now, when you click share, now you'll notice that when you add these folks, the notify people checkbox does not light up. And the reason for that is the form is not yet published. So you can't notify people until you've published it. However, when you click on share, it's going to bring you to this next window. And here it's now going to say, okay, I want to notify these folks. And now you have the option to publish and notify. You can also add a message, please fill out my form as you could in the past. And you have the option to either notify or not notify. Now, the reasoning for this, according to Google, is to make sharing a form more like sharing other Google Docs. So it's more like what you're used to. You probably know that when you share a Google Doc, you have the option of not notifying people to not fill up their inbox if you're going to let them know some other way. So I'm actually going to turn this off so these folks will not get an email. And now I can click publish. The form is now active and those people can now fill it out. You'll notice this button has switched to publish. You'll notice also that next to the publish, there is this share icon. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Notice how much more like a Google Doc this appears. So we have sharing the form. Here's the people with access. I'm the owner. The tech department and the CVU test student are both responders. I can go ahead and add, let's say, for example, I want to add the CVU math department as an example. I could add the CVU math department and I could actually make those folks editors. So just like with a Google Doc, editors can edit the doc, share it with others, etc. Whereas responders are like viewers in a Google form. I'm not going to actually do this, but I think you get the idea. So let me cancel that. And then down at the bottom, you have your general access. So this is where, for the responder view, you could say, anybody at Champlain Valley School District could respond to this form, or anyone with the link, like anyone out in the whole wide world, could respond to this form, or I want to keep it restricted just to the folks listed up here. So I'll click done. And before I close, I want to show you one other thing that unfortunately has not changed, and I wish it had. And that is if I click on responses here, it's going to show me who has responded up here. So if somebody had already responded, I would see their name up here. Notice how it says waiting for one response, and that's from the CVU test student. I can actually click send email reminder, and that will remind the test student they haven't yet filled out the form, still waiting for their answer. But notice how the CVU Tech Department is not listed here, not as a department, nor as individuals. In fact, the form only thinks there's one entity waiting for a response. And that is unfortunately the way forms work. When you share it with a group, you can't then later remind the group through this email reminder. So the workaround there is to not share it with the group. Instead, get all the individual emails of folks in that group and paste them in as individuals. They will then all be listed here under waiting for a response, and you can send them a reminder. So that has not changed with forms. I wish it had, but the way that you do share the form initially has. Hope that this makes sense to you. I'm happy to help with any of it. Thanks for watching, and keep those questions coming.